With temperatures dropping and in some places snow falling, the riding season is coming to a close, so I wanted to make another 10 bike hacks and tips video to tide you over until spring. Without further ado, let's get started. This first hack involves a specialty tool made to straighten out the bead of your rim. With lots of tools just like it on the market, I went with a rim jibber, which seems to work just fine. Right when I got it, I used it to straighten out my very dented Giant XC1 wheel. This tool made it possible for me to return to a tubeless setup after the dents had forced me to run a tube. But this is a hack, not a review, and I wanted to show you firsthand how the rim jibber works. I took the wheel off an out-of-commission Schwinn to demonstrate the straightening power of this wrench, but found the steel rim off the Schwinn to be much harder to dent than my aluminum XC1. After lots of trial and error, I finally found a solution that got at least a small dent in this wheel. Smashing it into the door of this safe turned out to be the best way to get a visible dent to work for my demonstration. You can see here that with not very much effort you can straighten the dent and return the rim to its former glory. While this wrench is not meant for tubeless rims, I got it to seat up just fine, so before you buy a new rim, give this a shot because it could save you hundreds of dollars in the end. One of the most vulnerable parts of your bike is your stanchions, which, if you don't know, are the top parts on a suspension fork. If these are scratched, then you could be in for a new pair of seals, or in some cases a whole new fork. Nowadays, many people carry bikes slung over the back of a tailgate, which is a great way to haul bikes, but it puts the stanchions precariously close to the tailgate. To protect them while carrying bikes in a truck or just transporting your bike in general, you can use a cut-up grip as protection. Just slide the grip over the stanchions and put it on the tailgate like normal. Now, you have an effective and free way to protect your bike and vehicle at the same time. Punctured inner tubes have little to no purpose, but you can give them new life as resistance bands. For an after-rider race stretch, an inner tube will work just fine. Because inner tubes are stretchy by nature, they'll work great, but it might be a good idea to double them up to give them some extra strength and rigidity. Keep in mind, I have no idea what I'm doing, and people with actual experience will know how to use these better than I do. I wouldn't normally buy a resistance band just to stretch, but having one for free just to have around is come in handy on a few occasions. While this hack might not help lots of people, for anyone who wants to preserve their body and stretch after a ride, then a cheap hack like this could be a game changer. These next two hacks are for trail builders, specifically for jump building. This first one is well known, but it's a huge help when building jumps. Lots of times when people try and make lips, landings, and rollers, they tend to shovel all the dirt into a messy pile and shape it afterwards. This works just fine, but you want your jumps in an upright form instead of just a pile. To make building up easier, make shelves on the sides and back of the feature like this. Then you can pile dirt on top of that shelf and repeat the process until you have your desired height and width. This makes it much less difficult to build taller and steeper features. While it might not seem like the biggest difference maker, I urge you to try it because it makes building dirt features many times easier. So you want those crispy smooth lines in your dirt jumps like you see in all the BMX videos, but your lips and landings look like this. A saggy dirt pile which is functional but lacks the aesthetic that you want. A great trick to make the backs and sides of your takeoffs and landings nearly vertical is actually pretty easy. Just take some wet dirt in a flat shovel like so and slap it onto the side of the feature. Hold it for a second and then carefully take the shovel away. Do this for the whole side and pack it in so it looks perfect. If any dirt makes its way to the bottom during this process, then just scoop it up and repeat it again. This time of the year is actually good building weather here, so I've been using this hack a lot on the new dirt jumps. One of the hardest parts about repairing a wheel is finding a good place to work on it. While you can use a truing stand to hold it up, I like to drop mine into a bike stand. Open the jaws a little wider than they normally would be and drop the wheel in. This puts it at nearly eye level and makes performing repairs and especially tubeless conversions very easy. If you do want to use this hack to make a wheel tubeless, then you might have to lower the stand a little so your pump or compressor hose can reach. Also, if you're worried about messing up your spokes, then you might want to use an alternative method, but if you're careful with your wheel, then you won't have any issues whatsoever. While this hack is mostly only helpful in the summer months, it could help you in the winter as well. Many sunscreens and lotions like chamois butter are sold in long tubes, which are a pain to carry around on a ride. Instead of taking the whole tube with you, put a small portion of sunscreen or whatever you need in one half of a contact lens case and the other essential in the other half. You could also use this to store a little bit of lube or grease for emergencies. There's an endless number of bike-related things that you could store in one of these, and the best part is you can fit it in a pocket or a small pouch in a backpack, meaning you'll never be left without sunscreen or any other necessities again. This is another storage hack, but this one is for keeping your tools and tubes in one spot. While some people strap their tools and tube to their bike, I prefer to keep my items in a bag or pocket. Most of the time when you throw your tools in a backpack, they tend to migrate to the bottom and get lost, so put all of your repair essentials in a glasses case. This will help keep all of them in one place and keep them from moving around and making noise in the pack when you're riding. For added noise dampening, you can wrap all the tools inside of the tube and then put it in the case so they won't rattle around as much. This hack means no more trail slide rustling around in your bag to find your multi-tool, but quick and easy access to get you and your bike back on the trail as soon as possible. Nowadays in the cycling industry, longer bars are more desirable than shorter XC-oriented bars, but this hack can give you temporary long bars to see if you like them or test a new setup. For this hack, all you'll need is a set of lock-on grips. Don't use rubber grips for this because they will be completely useless. Just loosen the grip and slide it out to your desired length on each side. I did about 2.5 centimeters on each side, which meant going from a 730mm bar to a 770mm bar. Then tighten the outside pinch bolts enough to keep the end cap on and the inner bolt a little more than usual to keep the grip on the bar. I want to make it clear that this hack should only be used for very short periods of time to find the right bar length or cockpit setup, not for everyday riding because they could eventually come loose or snap. I've used this without fault, but take caution when using this hack. Most mountain bikers don't carry locks on them, so if you want to stop in town after a ride for a meal or a few groceries and you don't have a lock on you, instead of leaving your bike outside unattended, use your helmet strap to secure your bike. Most thieves are just looking to grab your bike and go, but something simple like this could deter a thief from taking it over somebody else's bike. Also, today with many helmets having the magnetic fidlock system, someone with minimal knowledge of mountain biking will have a hard time figuring it out. If you don't have a lock and you want to make a longer stop, take your chain off and lock your bike with that. No ordinary bike thief could figure out a master link, and a bike chain could very well be stronger than an actual lock. When it comes down to it, anything you can do to make your bike harder to steal will greatly reduce your chances of bike theft. With that, there's 10 bike hacks to keep you thinking about single track while the snow falls. If you enjoyed this, then make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share with a friend. Make sure you keep your eyes out for the next video where I'll be rebuilding the dirt jumps at the quarry. On that bombshell, it's time to end. Thank you. Good night!